All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We are here for seamless communication. We did meet last month and spoke about OMS. This time, we are going to talk a little more about OMS and focus specifically on the broadcasting, digital signage, and alerts. I am Carlene Vaughn. I am the host, but I'm going to take a back seat today for the most part. And Roland is going to be walking us through OMS again. Roland, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Roland Hamilton. I'm with Optima's Product Management Department. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for joining.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So really quick, I do want to highlight for those of you who attend our session today or here in attendance, you're being entered to win an ML1080 portable projector. This is a fun little projector, 1080p, can really take it just about anywhere. Has a battery power or capable to be plugged in like a standard projector. Might be fun for camping or movie nights, or maybe you have some alternative, presentation settings in your office or school that might come in handy. So now for our agenda today, we are going to be doing a very quick, what is OMS? We're going to highlight the broadcasting capabilities. We're going to talk about real-time broadcasting versus scheduling. And then we will discuss some of the media options, templates. The scheduling portion is going to be really important. Some of those fun hotkeys, and then that CAP integration. All right. I am going to stop sharing really quick and let Roland take over. And while Roland is getting ready to take over, I will just mention follow-up information after this webinar will include a link to last month's webinar where we did discuss OMS in a more broad sense, as well as links to today's recording and some additional resources that you'll find handy as you're just trying to learn more about how to use it or just sort of the difference between some of our options.
Yeah, thanks so much, Carlene. OMS, what is OMS? Optoma Management Suite, or OMS, is Optima's display management solution. With OMS, you can monitor, diagnose, control, and manage your entire fleet of displays from a single interface. OMS also functions as a simple digital signage system, and we've already formed a partnership with Raptor Technologies to implement cloud integration with their platform, and we are working to integrate others. Let's just start by saying that OMS comes in two flavors. There is OMS Local and OMS Cloud. OMS Local is PC software. You install it on a machine that runs on the local network at your corporate space or school, and the system is, I hate to use the word limited, but limited to that local network, right? It's PC software, it's limited to the local network. OMS Cloud, on the other hand, is a web interface. You log onto the website, you log into your account, and all your displays are tied to your account, and through that website interface, you access all the functions and features. I will say that OMS Local we make available at no cost. OMS Cloud, there is a cost associated with it. Feel free to discuss your particular circumstances with your Optima representative. And I believe there'll be some more information as well in the follow-up communication. So really quickly, if you missed our last webinar, we encourage you to go back and have a look at that recording where we went over pretty much all the functions, a general broad overview of OMS. But in case you missed that, really quickly, here we are on the OMS dashboard. So I'm logged into my account, and this is kind of where I left it. We'll just give you a very brief overview of kind of what you're looking at and where you go to access different features, and then we'll dive into the digital signage and broadcast capabilities. So up on the top right here, I have some useful sort of utility buttons. I've got my account. I can go in and see information about my account. I can go in and change system settings. I've also got some buttons to access help and other similar features. On the left side, in this column on the left, are the main function tabs, I will call them. And in the center of the screen is your main control panel, basically. So when I choose a function tab on the left, the main portion of the screen is taken over with the interface for that to work with those functions. And I should also say that OMS is powerful. There's a lot you can do with it. All the things we talked about and are going to show you. But it doesn't mean it's complicated to use. It's actually relatively simple. And if you create an account and start working with some of your devices, you'll see that the button naming, all the functions are sort of intuitive. You want to do signage, jump down to the signage tab, and you want to broadcast, go to broadcast, and you'll be off to the races. While we're here, let's just jump right into broadcasting. But again, I encourage you to watch our previous webinar if you want a broad overview. Let's go ahead and just start by sending out a broadcast message. So in fact, I will broadcast this to a group of devices. We've made a group called All, and in this group is the display behind me in my office and Carlene's display in her office, and I'm going to confirm I'm going to send this broadcast message to this group. I can send a couple different types of messages, right? I can send text messages or media messages. Text messages just come up with a simple sort of interface where I could type something like Jane Doe, please report to the nurse's office. I think I misspelled something in there, or did I not? Okay. And you get a preview, and you see I have to paginate this a little differently. I can drop this down to the next line so that it displays properly. And you also have options to turn this into scrolling. You can change the text size if I want this to be larger text. And as you change the size of the text, it changes your character limits and how many characters fit on each row. You can change the banner position. I'll just do this in the middle. And you can also change the text color and background color. So if I go with like a yellow background color, it recommends that I use blue for contrast. I'll go ahead and go with that recommendation. And sorry, my Teams window is kind of in the way of the button I need to click. And I can choose a duration for this message. It's going to display for 30 seconds. I can choose hours, minutes, seconds. And forced broadcast mode, whether or not that box is checked, determines that's going to determine whether or not the user can clear the message. So if I leave that box unchecked, when the message comes up, Carlene will be able to clear the message by just touching the screen and hitting a little X icon. But if I were to enable that, it would force the user to be locked into viewing that for the entire duration set. But I'm just going to go ahead and click send. And there it is on my panel, at least. I can't see Carlene's right now, but Carlene's sharing her screen actually. But there's a quick way you can send text messages. And as we demonstrated, you can send it to a single device, a group of devices, or a specific location. You can break your devices. If I go into location, I've got the option of selecting a country. United States is the only country we have. I've set up a location here in Leland, North Carolina. But if you wanted, say for example, you're a statewide school district, you could target a geographic location like, Brunswick County could be the target for the message. But let's change this back to group, and I'll go to all again, and we'll confirm that. And let's try a media message. So there's a couple different types of media messages you can send. You can send images. We support JPEG as well as PNG. Videos we'll talk about a little more. You can also push YouTube links directly to the panels or displays. And I should have mentioned earlier, I breezed over this, I should have mentioned that OMS is compatible with all our display solutions, all Optoma's display solution categories. So video projectors, our interactive Creative Touch interactive panels, our N series, non-interactive professional displays, and our direct view LED all-in-one solutions. Keep in mind that the specific functionality varies on the device type. So most of the projectors, for example, do not have the ability to display broadcast messages that would sort of be specific to the panels and the direct view LED. But as I was saying, let's just display a test image here. We're going to select a file, and these are all images that I've previously uploaded. We're going to talk about that category next. Let's look for a good one here. Let's do this lab safety example. I like this. We are going to make it a full screen image, again for 30 seconds, and I'm going to hit the go button, and that is going to push through the cloud to the group of displays, and there our boards are being taken over with that lab safety message. The Canva integration is another really useful feature. This is really powerful. Essentially, you develop your signage or your content in the Canva website. They offer a free account option, so if you haven't used Canva, would encourage you for many different reasons. But let's go in here, and I'm going to select one of my examples. And basically, what you do is you set up the content in Canva. You publish the content in Canva, and Canva spits out a link that you basically paste into the OMS system, and we'll get to that in a moment. But let's just do this conference sign example, and yeah, it loads a preview. Again, we'll display this for 30 seconds. I'm going to hit the button, and we're going to be any second now pushing that Canva content to our panels. So there's a quick overview of what you can do in terms of instant broadcast messaging. And there's a lot more advanced functions that we're going to get into momentarily. But Carlene, am I missing anything that you wanted to cover thus far, or are there any questions coming in from the folks at home?
No questions yet. I will say, as far as Canva goes, most of our education customers are well aware of how helpful an application that is. One of the benefits of this that is really nice with Canva is that live link. So what happens is, if the digital signage is pushed out from this platform, then we have to have the people who are doing the digital signage in the platform, right? Well, that's not actually the case. The good news is because Canva can be published live from the account, all they have to do is share the link with whoever's managing OMS. And that enables you to keep other hands out of the account because it's not going to be on purpose, but someone will mess it up. And so you can maintain IT only access to the actual account and kind of set it and forget it as far as the digital signage, and they can manage it on their ends. And that also gives them the ability to share content. And I can say, hey, I'm the media specialist. We can have, the football coach or the newspaper or all the different clubs, and they can all contribute to this one file. And it's all managed outside of OMS. And basically, once it's set up and queued and scheduled the first time, any changes made will take effect the next time that the signage takes over. So as far as the IT side of things, it's super easy to manage.
That's a really good point, Carlene. Thank you for pointing that out. So let's jump into the media tab quickly. The significance of the media tab is that when I use my laptop or my iPad and I tell the OMS system that I want to send a broadcast message, the content is not being pushed from that laptop or from the iPad. The content has already been uploaded into the OMS system. And I can do that from the laptop or the iPad, but essentially, if you're going to utilize media signage, images, videos, it all starts in this media category tab. And I'm going to upload here all my content. So here I have several pages, probably, 3 pages of content. Here's where you basically upload all your assets. And quickly, if I go to the Add tab, I can either add media or add via URL. Basically, you can upload images. So I already covered PNG files, JPEG files. You can upload videos. Those would be an MP4 format. You can also upload audio files, MP3 format, to accompany slideshows, for example. Like if you wanted a photo slideshow to play as a signage piece, but you wanted to add a soundtrack, you can upload those audio files. You can upload Canva templates. You can upload YouTube links. You can also upload web images. There's an option, the URL option lets you basically add a web URL. So if there's an image that lives on the internet, and it's basically a link to a JPEG or a PNG file, a good example of how you might use it is, say, for example, on your school or on your business's home web page, you have an image that you update regularly, or the webmaster updates it. Say it's a calendar or something of that nature. You can use this feature and upload that URL of where that image lives on the website. And then as it updates on your website by whoever, owns that responsibility, the content, similar to how Carlene was explaining that when you make changes in Canva, they automatically reflect when they're displayed. Those changes to your content on your website would also automatically update the signage that's being displayed. So those are all your basic device. I think the only thing I've missed is an RSS feed. RSS feeds are basically simple text outputs. They're generally news, that sort of thing. And you can utilize that to create, to add to your signage. And you'll see when we get to the templates tab why that would be particularly appropriate. But for now, understand that you basically take all your signage content and you upload it into the platform. I believe at the bottom here, you'll see that I have 15 gigabytes of storage, and I've uploaded quite a bit of content and haven't even made any kind of a significant dent into my storage limit, so no issue there. So once you've uploaded all your content, you'll notice that when you go into the broadcast tab, for example, and go to media and image, when I go to select file, it is actually giving me the list of all the image files that have been uploaded into my account, right? And this makes it very easy to use for a number of reasons. You're not tied to having the content on your laptop. It's already uploaded to the cloud. Anybody can access it, or anybody who you've given access to the OMS system can utilize all the content. It's really rich functionality in terms of housing everything in a central location. The other thing I wanted to point out in the media tab, you'll notice that there's media where you upload all your images, but there's also a playlist tab. This is where you would essentially create, for example, a photo slideshow. So if I've already created a photo playlist, I'm going to go to edit, and you'll see here all the images that I've dropped in here. And you'll also notice that I've given them a play duration of 10 seconds. So if I play this playlist, it's going to display each of these images in this order and show each image for 10 seconds a piece. Beyond the simple, so there's the media tab and the playlist function. Let's talk about the templates function, because this is where things get a little bit more advanced. So if we go to add new, you'll see here that here are some of the layout options. And if I just show you an example of one we've already created, it'll probably make more sense. If I go in here to edit, here you'll see, for example, Carlene developed this content. I think it looks wonderful. Each of these, the banner at the top, the side calendar, and the center main content pane here, each of these is actually a separate image. And I can go in here and edit it and choose a different image if I want to. Once you've got the images uploaded here or selected and pinned to the different frames, I can also change this. So right now, where is it? The banner is on the top and the small content is on the left. I can change it to banner on the bottom, small content on the right, and it automatically flips around my configuration. Keep in mind that you cannot push this real time. There's no option in here to say, I want to send this to my boards now. That has to be done through the scheduling. So the only thing that gets pushed instantly are text messages and single image files. When it comes to any kind of template, or actually that's not true, YouTube videos as well, or Canva links. So I can send images, text messages, YouTube videos, and Canva links can be pushed instantly. When it comes to these templates, or signage playlists, like photo slideshows, basically, those do have to be set up in advance. The reason being is that you can also embed video files into the playlists, and if you were to try to push that instantly, the bandwidth of the internet connection between the cloud system and your device, the throughput of the connection may not be fast enough to buffer the video properly. So what happens is when you set up a playlist, it actually downloads the content to the panel ahead of time. And then when the time arrives, it can play the content back perfectly and smoothly and cleanly because it's already been downloaded to the panel. So there's a reason for that, the way it's been implemented. Let's just dump right into the schedule tab and I'll show you how that works. If you go to add a schedule event, and I go into, I don't want this to be control. I want to send a signage template. And you also notice how you can schedule control events, system update events, as well as standard, I just want to broadcast a simple text message or image. You can schedule that as well. But if I choose template and choose, I guess we're not going to send this live immediately, so I can just choose my device. But in fact, I've set up one of those template. I've pre-programmed it to display a template on both of our machines at 1225. So hopefully I did that right and it happens the way it's supposed to. But here in the schedule tab, this is going to happen once. It's going to happen at this date. You can choose a future date and you choose the time it's going to start and the time it's going to end. And then I can go ahead and select one of my templates. I've just created a few of these simple examples here. I'm not going to do this again, but just want to point out how the scheduling is really super easy. Carlene, anything I'm missing or anything you'd like to tack on there?
So
If not, that's fine.
This part, we do want to mention the difference between OMS Cloud and OMS Local. This is one of the features that is going to be part of the premium OMS Cloud versus that free local version. So I just want you to be aware of that. There is real-time alerts, which I know Roland is going to mention probably in just a minute, but I just want to make sure that you're aware that that is part of that premium function.
Yeah, so on the OMS Local, you can send images and text messages, but you only have the option to do it instantly. There's no scheduling function for media broadcast in OMS Local.
Right. I would also like to point out really quick, sorry. Oop.
No,
Wrong
please.
camera. Let me do this way. To point out that right now there is a trial on OMS Cloud that goes through the end of the year. So if you are just kind of wanting to poke around, or if you already have an Optima product and you want to get in there and try out some of those premium features, you will have access through the end of December. And then that is a discussion or further discussion to have with our sales team or your local rep, and we'll have some contact information shared for you at the end of this presentation as well.
Thanks, Carlene. That's really important information. So just to recap a little bit, basically you upload your media and you have all your media organized in the media tab. You can then turn it into playlists, or you can create templates, which then the playlists and templates get scheduled. And when it comes to just pushing an image up to the boards, you can do that real time or scheduled, right? So there's the basic flow we've gone over so far. The last couple topics I want to cover are the hotkeys and the alerts that you can send out, which we're going to access through this tab here. And I've developed a few of these hotkeys, and you see it says dashboard shortcut key here. You'll notice on my dashboard, I have these couple buttons up here, and when I hover over them, it gives me a preview. And these are basically pre-programmed alerts where as soon as you log on to the platform, right on your dashboard, you have the option of initiating these, and it even tells you where it's going to push to. You see under dismissal, it's only pushing to Roland's office. I believe the severe weather one I set up is pushing to all. So once you set these up, you can have up to 5 of them, I believe. They live, if you choose to enable these buttons, they live right on your dashboard. And the next thing and last thing actually I want to talk about is the CAP integration. So Optima has partnered with Raptor Technologies. Raptor is essentially an integrated school safety and security platform. They enable the emergency buttons on the wall and the lanyards around teachers' necks, and integrate with automated text messages that get sent out. And Raptor does all sorts of things. I'm sure all the educators out there are familiar with what these school safety platforms do. We have partnered with Raptor, and we integrate with Raptor via CAP protocol, or Common Alert Protocol. That's what CAP stands for. And we are working hard to bring that same integration to other platforms as well, right? So Raptor was our first partnership in this area. We plan on adding more coming soon, so stay tuned for that. But let's go ahead and set up a CAP message. And this is actually really very simple. Basically, it's the same process as any other broadcast message. You can either simply have the text come up, emergency message, or you can set up the multimedia aspect of it, where you go in and you pick an image that's going to display. Let's find something appropriate like this one, the severe weather alert. It's going to display this image. It's going to display it full screen. I'm going to lock it into forced broadcast, where it will not, the user in front of the panel cannot clear the message. It will be up for as long as the event is active, basically. And I need to select the device. In in a real world scenario, you would probably send this to a group, like all your devices in your school or business or corporate location, whatever the case is. But here I have it set up. And when I save it, OMS is going to generate these lines of code. This is mostly XML code, and what you're going to do is copy each of these pieces of code, and you then go into your Raptor platform and paste these lines of code into the appropriate locations within the Raptor interface, and it marries the two systems together. And the end result is that when an event occurs on the Raptor platform, whatever it is and however it's initiated, an event occurs, the Raptor system via the cloud communicates with our servers using this information that's generated here, and it tells the OMS system to make this broadcast event happen. And so it's powerful. It does a lot. There's a lot you can do with it, but it's not particularly difficult to implement once you're familiar, needless to say, with the Raptor side of things. So there is a brief overview of the signage and broadcast and communication capabilities of the OMS system. So anything else you'd like me to cover in particular, Carlene, or any questions from the folks at home?
Real quick, I'll say if you do have any questions, please drop them in the chat. I know I didn't mention that earlier, so I apologize. As far as the CAP protocol and Raptor, we do have some others coming online soon, but I would just like to, kind of repeat some of what Roland said. Fantastic capabilities through that partnership with Raptor. We know if there was an event that took place, and we need to make sure that students get that message quickly. So being able to immediately take over one display, a group of displays, or all the displays so that all relevant parties have that information is critical. So know that we do have the integration with Raptor. And if you want any more information about that, you can reach out to our inside sales team. I want to thank you again for joining us today. I am keeping an eye on the chat just in case someone decides to stick a question in there really quick. But I'm going to reshare my screen to highlight a couple things really quick. The contact information I promised to share right here at the bottom, opam.insidesales@optoma.com. If you want to reach out to that email address, you can ask them any question you want, literally anything. I promise they'll answer. It doesn't have to be about Optoma. Next month, we will be focusing on our direct view LED displays as well. So stick around or come back around, I'll say, on September 24th and learn a little bit more about the DV LEDs and all the cool ways to put them together and splice them and put them in your corporate meeting rooms, your higher ed classrooms, your school lobbies, any place that you need a very large LED display. All right. Did we have any questions really quick before we join? Oh, I do see one. Okay. I have lots of older projectors, I believe, and I'm using Optoma Local and adding via IP address. Is it possible to get these older devices on OMS Cloud? That is a
Yeah, that
Roland question.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Thank you for asking. And it highlights yes is the answer. Um, we sell what we call the Hive box. The model or the SKU on the Optima price list is the OCH 100. It's basically it's an Android box that you would add to your existing displays, and once you add that OCH 100 or Hive box, you can use that to integrate with not just the OMS platform, our digital whiteboard, our display share application, which is our casting platform. So we offer that standalone box. You can add it to your existing projectors or existing digital signage displays. It gets added as a device in the system, just like our panel would be, and you can broadcast to that panel. You can essentially access all the features we've been talking about. I don't believe there are really any limitations that the IFP behind one of these IFPs can do that the OCH 100 cannot do in terms of the functions we're talking about. So yeah, there's your option right there. And thanks for the question.
All right,
The other thing I'll mention is that the OCH 100 does have the ability. The hardware itself can issue RS-232 commands. So if you need to control that device, needless to say, a projector has to turn on before it can display signage. So you can use the RS-232 capability to turn the display on and use the signage platform to then, to handle the playback of what it is you want to display.
right. And I'll tell you, I'm actually holding up an OCH 100 right here. I'll just kind of show you the sides really quick. I did drop a link to the product page for this device as well in the chat. And David is asking, I'd need one box per projector, right, Roland?
That is correct. You could theoretically, if you wanted the same thing to display on 5 displays, you could also use like a HDMI distribution, a distribution hub or a matrix switch. So you could technically do more than one display with one, but typically yes would be the answer to your question.
All right. Thank you, David. I appreciate you asking those questions. I have dropped the contact information in the chat as well. If you have any questions, again, that's OPAM, stands for Optoma Americas. Inside sales at optoma.com. Please feel free to reach out for any and all questions. And thank you again for joining us today. We'll see you next month. Thank you, Roland.